What is going on, guys? Thank you very much for tuning in. Today we're talking about the diagnosis of my neuropsychological evaluation. For those of you who aren't aware, I did a neuropsychological evaluation in December. But I want to go back to my first struggle with anxiety and depression and what you would consider delusions, just because for some reason my brain decided to short circuit the chemicals that are supposed to be for the mood stability. When I was 19, there was a period in my life where I thought that people had a hidden agenda against me. Why? I don't know. There was just something in my mind that I was in a state of paranoia, and I was very hypervigilant. And I would wear sunglasses because I thought that people could read my mind, or that they were plotting against me, or they were trying to become intrusive in my thoughts. I knew I had ADHD. But because of my Latino culture and the stigma behind ADHD medication, and I'm going to be very candid here, Latinos really don't know a lot about mental health. Their response is, it's all in your head. Let me hit you on top of the head so you can get it out of you. In a way, it's almost belittling. I do believe that mental health is a big portion for you to have a healthy life as well as physical health. So let me kind of go ahead and bring this back to you. If you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes, and you are constantly experiencing a lot of physical problems, that will take a toll into your mental health regarding your own capabilities. So it would lower your self-esteem, your self-worth. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to get depressed. You're going to get anxious. That's just at a bare minimum. With my ADHD, just recently, I finally got the medication I needed. I knew I had problems trying to hold my information. And when it came to this neuropsychological evaluation, they were testing to see my executive functioning, meaning how do I plan, organize, and prioritize my tasks, duties, and responsibility. Because I was experiencing a lot of problems at work and a lot of problems at home. I felt constantly anxious and I felt constantly depressed. Now I finally have the medication that allows me to get my shit done. Right now, I actually am on my Adderall. So again, I'm not telling you to get Adderall. I'm not telling you you have ADHD, but if you want to get the right diagnosis, you need to go through a psychological or neuropsychological evaluation. I thought it was just ADHD. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm taking Adderall right now, and I have to take Buspar, a anti-anxiety medication, because I already have anxiety, but I also have social anxiety, a panic disorder, meaning I suffer from panic attacks, and then I have post-traumatic stress disorder. That's going to the shit that I endured when I was a child, between the ages of 4 to 7 to about 13. I already have a lot of anxiety that I deal with. But what really didn't make sense was the depression. This report, again, is a neuropsychological evaluation, meaning they tested everything. They tested my IQ, they tested my executive functioning, paper and pencil testing, they checked my life events, they checked my mood, my personality, and there was a lot that I didn't know. And it's really difficult to talk about it because a lot of people are going to shun me, or they're going to try and belittle me or patronize me. But, you know, with what I'm about to tell you, you just don't wake up and say, hey, I want this condition. Or, hey, I'm so happy, like I can eat more of this particular condition. The biggest problem that I was experiencing was depression. For some reason, with everything that I was doing, I would go through these waves of energy and depression in a matter of weeks to days to months. And it was like I started getting these suicidal thoughts. I mean, I'm still going to work. I'm still making these videos. I'm still writing my book, producing all this stuff. But I had this underlying thing of depression, but I also felt very energized. It was like energized depression. And then, because you don't know what you don't know, I got put on Effexor. Now, this isn't Effexor, but I had to toss it out. I got put on Effexor, which is a serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. It's an SNRI because it's used to treat depression and anxiety. Well, the problem was I didn't know I had bipolar disorder. Yes, I have a bipolar 1 diagnosis, meaning I don't suffer from hypomania. I suffer from mania. And as I'm taking these medications, or this one medication to help my anxiety, to help my depression, because I just felt very anxious and depressed at the same time, like very agitated, but my mind is racing, and it's really hard to just stay level. When I was 19, there was a period where I started binge drinking, and I got a tattoo, and then they found a whole bunch of drugs in my system. I ended up in the hospital, and I was under the delusions afterwards with depression that people were still plotting against me. Why? I don't know. I did this neuropsych evaluation just because I didn't want to feel depressed. I need to know what's wrong with me mentally. And it turns out I have bipolar 1 disorder. And with my particular diagnosis, the specifier, meaning a more specific way to explain my diagnosis, is that I suffer from mixed mania, meaning I can go days on end without sleep, restless, racing thoughts with psychotic features, meaning I start hallucinating and I start hearing stuff that isn't supposed to be there, and I start suffering from these delusions and going into states of paranoia because I feel like people are trying to, they're trying to plot against me. And that is part of mixed mania, right? I have all this energy, I feel good, but then I'm depressed, and so it's really hard to balance that out. And coming out that I have this disorder, it just proves to show that if you are experiencing a lot of problems in your life and you haven't gone to therapy, you haven't seen a counselor, you haven't seen a psychiatrist, I highly recommend you start doing that. Because the last book that I created, I'm about to fucking lose it, was the underlying tone that I was experiencing such high levels of anxiety and mania and depression all at the same time that I wanted to admit myself into a psychiatric hospital. And that would, what you would consider the tip the fuck over midlife crisis, but I didn't. I was able to keep everything at bay. And as I tell you that I have my bipolar 1 diagnosis, it's really hard to be able to set a routine. With sleep being the main component of maintaining stability, it just shows a lot that I'm not perfect, and anybody who tells you that it's about mindset and about programming and it's about, being positive and being optimistic, they are so full of shit. Life coaches are so full of shit because they don't account for mental health disorders. They don't account for anxiety, depression, bipolar depression, or even personality disorders. So don't let anybody ever try to discourage you because you suffer from a very detrimental and just very hard to manage mood disorder. I thought I had ADHD. I knew it. But it turns out that my anxiety levels is generalized anxiety, social anxiety, a panic disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And then my depression is not even a major depression or recurring depression. It's bipolar 1 depression. And it is probably on the severity of bipolar 1. And so I want to let you know this because moving forward, I'm going to be talking a lot more about mental health, my routine. And if you have any questions, I will help you out as best I can. But guys, start taking care of yourself. Take care of it now before it's too late. If you have any questions, comments, and concerns, make sure you hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I am now on LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Tumblr. I'm also on TikTok. Until next time, guys, stay tuned. Take care.